Hi folks, Puffin here with your Antifa News Briefa for March 9th, 2022. This is about Poland lending their airplanes, their fighter jets to Ukraine. So last night on the BBC, about, 8 or 9 o'clock my time, I heard the report that, 7 or 8 o'clock maybe, that Poland had offered to loan their MiG jets to Ukraine. When I first heard it, I thought they said all their jets, but I think they meant all their MiG jets, their Russian era MiG jets, which I guess are the ones they already know how to fly in Ukraine. And that seemed like a turning point. Like, well, this is going to end Putin's aggression because he won't be beating up on a less equipped opponent. And they were already winning just from the ground, apparently. But to have that air support would turn the tide of battle. And then within an hour, the news came out that the U.S. says, not on our base. Now, this is concerning for different reasons. It's possibly the right move to hold back the air support, but only if something else is coming through. Like, you really need something to end this war immediately. So if they have some secret plan, some 007 stuff, you know what I'm saying? Something like that, that might make sense. Basically, you want to end this war as soon as possible. Putin changing his mind would be great. Doesn't seem to be happening, but might happen with the forces that the Russian people can exert. You know, I hear their trolls talking about Iraq, talking about stuff like this. What about U.S.'s invasion of Iraq? I didn't support U.S.'s invasion of Iraq. I was against it the whole time. But did I have the ability to help overthrow our government to stop it? No. And that's kind of what we want Russia to do. But the Russian people, do they have that ability? Well, we do have that ability. I shouldn't say no, we don't have the ability. We didn't utilize the ability. We didn't mobilize against the war enough to potentially change the government. It can happen. It's almost happened before. It needs to happen, or the government needs to change on its own, feeling that pressure from us as citizens, whether we mobilize physically or virtually, which is why the hashtag pillow revolution works, because it's a revolution you can do from bed. Now, what's going on in Ukraine, don't want to minimize the Russian soldiers who are actually shooting and killing mostly Ukrainian civilians, just terrorizing the country and destroying the country just because Putin tells them to, not for no reason, but because Putin tells them to. There are plenty of Russians who are surrendering, so when you want them to loan you planes, Putin's actually loaning them soldiers. There's plenty of Russian soldiers who are defecting. I don't know if they're joining the Ukrainian army or if they're just getting to go back home or what, but they're not fighting against Ukraine. And some of them are recording videos to tell others, Russian soldiers, don't fight against Ukraine. And I can imagine these convoys of Russian tanks showing up and then hopping out of their tanks. Hey, we surrender. Thanks for the ride, Putin. But we're Ukrainian now, just defecting to Ukraine because Putin is on course to destroy Russia. Now, the sanctions can destroy the economy, and I literally wonder why even China isn't more condemning of Putin. Whatever friends or partnerships they have, you've got to condemn evil. And they've started to. They've come closer to condemning him. But the point is to go ahead and do it, unless they're trying to give him enough rope to hang himself and take over the country when he's gone, like split the country with Turkey and Ukraine and say we each get a part of this failed Russian state, the rest of the Russian ruins of what Putin left it with. But it's sad for the Russian people, and to make them suffer enough to overthrow Putin seems to be, a potential plan, but it doesn't seem to be likely, doesn't seem to be a kind type of plan. Now, converting people over to the Ukrainian army, that's really creative and a kind, caring thing to do. And winning this type of information war is a kind, caring thing to do. But I have to speculate on the reasons for America blocking the use of their Air Force bases, which I guess America has all the Air Force bases in Europe. Like, I'm pretty sure some of these countries have some of their own Air Force bases. They can take the planes there and go from there or whatever. But it does appear that America is, in actuality, taking Russia's side or taking Putin's side. I will never call it Russia's side because Putin's not on Russia's side. Putin's betrayed Russia. But just like Trump betrayed America for Putin, all Trump Putineers are traitors to all humanity. No matter what country you're from, you're a traitor to that country and a traitor to humanity if you're a Trump Putineer. So if Biden is one secretly, and that's why he doesn't want to let him use the Air Force Base, I'm not saying that's the case. That's kind of worst case scenario. Or worst case scenario is what the Trumpers say is true, and Trump is somehow secretly, whatever. Like some of them say that Biden is Trump in a mask. That's how crazy they are. They want to think Trump is president so bad. But unfortunately, Biden hasn't done enough anti-Trump stuff to prove that Trump isn't secret, that the same group or people, whatever, Putin, isn't still running our government, because Putin was running our government under Trump. Is he still? Is that the reason why some things are promised and other things are delivered? But, it was promised decades ago that we would support Ukraine against an invasion. If Putin knew that we would, he probably wouldn't have done it in the first place. Now that zoom back out. It's something I forgot to say. Oh my gosh, if one country can just loan another country a bunch of planes, why didn't you do that 2 weeks ago? You can say, well, it's an emergency situation. We can loan them a bunch of planes. It was an emergency situation 2-3 weeks ago before the first Russian soldier crossed the border. If you'd loaned them the planes then, if you'd started loading them up with planes and stuff like that then, it might have stopped the invasion. We wouldn't have been talking about this. You would have just had driven some planes over there. So hard to understand. Again, they know more than I do about the art of warfare. But I know this. No oil, no war. It's oil companies and military companies who are getting us into war. Yeah, we have tyrants who are starting the wars, but it's oil companies and military companies who are making it possible. So here's my big point about the Ukraine war, as I understand it at this point. It's an advertisement for two things. It's an advertisement for these rocket launchers that can take down planes. It's an advertisement to say, hey, we've got military hardware that no matter how small a state you are, you can resist a much larger state with this small military hardware we can ship to you. It's an advertisement for those types of weapons, and it's a big advertisement for nuclear weapons, because it's like, if you don't have nuclear weapons, anybody with nuclear weapons can invade you anytime they want. Nobody will ever do anything about it. It's sad, and it's military. And we don't need military anymore in the future. If we want to have a future, it doesn't need military. But if we want to have a future, we need to cut out military now. Again, #pillow revolution. That's a worldwide revolution. It's nonviolent. Can't get in any trouble for it. It's just sharing the idea that we don't need military anymore. We don't need oil, and we don't need military. And if we get that idea out there and enough people working on it, we'll make it happen. So, we don't need tyrants either. We don't need Putin, and we don't need Trump. So one point I've been making for days, check my channel, scroll down for a while, for weeks now, is that if Biden wants to oppose Putin, step one is arrest Trump. You arrest his U.S. invader. If you're going to let him invade the USA, so you got to stand strong against Trump. You got to stand strong against Putin. And it comes down to everything. I heard about talking on the census today. Will Biden change the census designation to add, I forgot the acronym, but they have an acronym for another group of people they want to add. Nina, I think, category of people. And we'll review it. There's things you can do. Put Harriet Tubman on a $20 bill. No one would believe that Trump is still president if Harriet Tubman was on your $20 bill. Why wouldn't they believe it? Because everyone knows Trump is a complete racist who would never allow that to happen. But all he did was put racism in the way to stop it. It was supposed to happen in 2019, 2020. Or 2017, I think. Anyway, it's supposed to happen years ago. Trump racisted and got it in the way. Biden could reverse that with a phone call and show that he's president. Just like he could arrest Trump with a phone call. Or he could do a effective opposition to Putin and show that he's president, not Trump, not Putin, not in USA and not in Ukraine. So we're going to pick our own presidents. Putin's not going to pick them. And yeah, glory to Ukraine, glory to USA and the rest of the world opposing Putin. Thank you.